Welcome back to another episode of the Let It Up Sports Podcast. Today we have on Syracuse 2025 lacrosse commit Jayden Kittelberger. I'm excited to have him on the show. Obviously, as you guys know, we cover a lot of Syracuse sports, lacrosse, football, basketball, stuff like that. But we're going to get to take a deep dive into his college recruitment process before he committed, why he ended up choosing Syracuse, and just his expectations for the upcoming high school season. But how's it going, Jayden?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited to have you on the show.
Sweet. Thanks for having me.
So I just want to start off talking about your upcoming junior season with Salisbury High School. What would you say are some goals that you have set for yourself that you want to accomplish, and then some goals that you have already set for the team?
Well, definitely some goals for myself is just getting in the gym more and just getting bigger and stronger. Obviously that will contribute to helping my team any way that I can, and just like kind of helping the team come together and just build team chemistry and do as much as I can on my part on helping them do that. And I'd say for the team, just again, like working on team chemistry, coming together and like finding what we are good at, like everyone's individual strengths. And, we're going for a championship this year, and we're going to try and have a great record and win as many games as we can. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, and I believe you guys have a couple new guys coming in. I could be wrong, but what are some differences that people are going to notice from last year's team to this year's Salisbury team?
Oh, well, definitely. You're gonna notice that, we're a pretty close group. Like we're a tight-knit group, and I think we play really well together. And we're coming from guys that, we've guys from other boarding schools have come here, like, Cam, he's been from other boarding school, and we're just gonna use them in the best way that we possibly can. We have we have a lot of studs this year, and it's just gonna be a tighter knit group, and we're just gonna try and make as least mistakes as we can. And we're just going to try and put some goals in the back of the net, get some defensive stops, and just have a good game.
Yeah, and Cam, we just had on the show last week, committed to Notre
Yeah.
Dame. He talked about the upcoming season, super excited, but it's looking like Salisbury is going to be one of the teams to be in the state this year. Super
Yeah.
excited to watch you guys play this season. But I wanted to talk a little bit about your recruitment before you ended up choosing Syracuse. So at what point in your high school career did college coaches really start reaching out to you, texting you, calling you, and stuff like that?
Oh, well, for a lot of kids, it was pretty big. September 1st, like right when the clock struck 12, Syracuse was like, they'd end up calling me. So I was really grateful for that. It was like, it's kind of close to my home. I grew up in upstate. So I grew up going to, Syracuse Dome games, basketball, football, lacrosse. It was just like, it's kind of part of my childhood and part of a lot of kids' childhood that grew up in upstate, play lacrosse. And it was sweet having a school like that reach out to me, and, other schools too. It was really cool. It was a great feeling. And then a couple of days later, a couple of schools foil in, and just go from there and get some calls. And it's a really cool process.
Yeah, I would imagine it's probably pretty exciting, but also a little bit overwhelming and
Definitely.
stressful just with all of these collegiate coaches. We've talked to a
Yeah.
lot of guys about that first day. For basketball, it's different. For football, it's a different day. But September 1st, we've talked to a lot of lacrosse guys about just how much your phone is really blowing up,
Yeah.
and with the different college coaches calling and texting you and stuff like that. But you ended up taking a visit to Syracuse. Just kind of walk us through that. We had Cam do the same thing last week. Just what you did with the coaching staff from when you started the visit and how the visit ended and stuff like that.
Yeah. So actually, again, Syracuse is really close to my house, and I go to boarding school. And I was scheduled to go to boarding school on September 4th. And on the way, Syracuse is right along that stop. So I stopped there. And from the start, just seeing the campus again, like it's really cool. Especially just being in it and being there, and like getting recruited to go there is really cool. Just meeting the coaches for the first time was really cool, especially like Gary Gate. Like he's amazing, really, really good lacrosse player, like really historic, really important guy at Syracuse. So it was really cool meeting a guy like that and just having be able to connect with them and see like more of the campus. We started off in like the basketball, which is really cool. Syracuse is a great basketball school. So it's good to see what other programs have to offer too, aside from lacrosse, just like seeing what else goes on there. And and then we kept moving on to athletic facilities, top of the line. I think they're really nice. I think I would fit in really well there. It's really cool. And then we went to some of the lacrosse locker rooms, and then we went on campus, toured the academic buildings, food, stuff like that. And it was all really nice. It just kind of felt like home. It was just a really nice place, and I really enjoyed it. It's really nice.
Yeah. And before you actually announced your commitment publicly to Syracuse,
Yeah.
were there any other schools that you had on your final list that you were still considering, even just possibly the days following up to your commitment?
Oh, yeah, there were a couple schools. I mean, some things just didn't align, so some things didn't work out with some schools. But I did take a visit to Ohio State, which is it was a really cool school, just like really big football school too. So I got to see a football game there. It was really cool. But some things just didn't work out. And North Carolina was also one of the schools that I was very interested in, that I was chatting with a little bit. But everything just aligned with Syracuse the way I wanted it to, and it just worked out that way. And it was really good. But definitely I felt like Syracuse being closer to home, Ohio State kind of in the middle, 5 hours away, and then obviously North Carolina is a plane ride.
Mhm.
But I just felt like being close to home too was just a huge plus, and I felt like that was kind of where I belong. My parents can come to my games, friends too, and I'm close to home again. So
Yeah, and Syracuse has had many other guys commit for the 2024 and 2025 class, but have you
yeah.
gotten a chance to already talk to some of those guys that are committed along with your 2025 class to Syracuse?
Yeah, so actually, two kids I played Sweet Lax with when I first started in, I think, eighth grade. Drew Angelo, he's a face-off kid committed there, and Cam Ryan, he's a long pole committed there. And there's kids that I've just played, like Peyton Anderson at Brunswick. I guarded him a couple times last year. He's a good player, but they're all really good kids that I committed there. And Bogue, he committed to Syracuse. He's a McDonough kid. He's really good. But I haven't got the chance to meet him. I'm sure he's a cool kid, and along with Peyton. But yeah, seeing my friends there too is really cool. So when I get down, I have people to back me up. And kid that went here last year, I'm not sure if you know Trey Deer.
Yeah.
He was one of my good friends here. We hung out a lot, and he's a really good player. So he was actually the first person that called me when I committed there. So it was really cool to hear from him.
Yeah, lots of upcoming talent coming to the Orange the next few years on
Yeah,
all cylinders from Syracuse football, basketball, lacrosse. They've drawn some big commitments the past few years. But I want to
yeah.
ask you this. I love asking lacrosse players this, especially whether you're an attackman or even a midfielder. If you had to pick out one or just a few players that you would have to say were the hardest players that you've either ever had to guard or play against, or that you've ever had to be guarded by, and really just what made them so special and what made them so difficult for you to figure out.
Yeah, so there's actually a kid here who just shot up, had like not an amazing spring, kind of just growing, Parker Reynolds. And like he had an amazing summer, and just coming back to school and like watching him play over summer and coming back to school, just getting those captains practices. That kid's like definitely one of the guardest kids I've had to guard. He's going to Princeton. Just his change of direction is really fast. He's just really hard to stick with, just really shifty, all around good player. And I don't pick a lot of Salisbury guys here, but Chris Alexis, he's just fast. He's pretty hard to guard, and yeah, definitely those two, Parker Reynolds and Chris Alexis, they're just studs.
Gotcha.
But it's just their change of direction is just insane. It's just hard to stick with them, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And being guarded by someone, probably I'd have to say I'm not sure actually. I kind of stuck on the defensive side of summer this year, so I can't really pick out a long pull.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a couple good ones out there.
Yeah, and obviously once you get to the collegiate level, you'll face even higher talent, which is just crazy to think about just because of
Yeah.
the talent just on the East Coast with school states like Connecticut and stuff like that. But if you had to say a couple of things that separates you from other right-handed midfielders in your class, what would those things be, and why do you think maybe you do those certain things better than other guys in your class?
Oh, well, I definitely say my ability to clear. I think that's something that's like really progressed in my game, just getting the ball from one end of the field to the other, whether I'm crossing midline and taking a shot or I'm getting my attackman involved or a midi. I think that's definitely something that separates me. Uh, yeah, definitely just my ability to clear. And also I just say my speed and just beating people to the spot, whether it's a attackman, a midfielder, cutting off a face-off kid. Like I just think I could beat people to the spot and just stick with them pretty well.
Yeah.
So definitely those two, clearing and just my ability to beat someone to the spot and get on
Yeah.
their hands.
Yeah, well, Syracuse obviously is a great player coming to their 2025 class. In Jayden, if there's one last message that you want to say to Syracuse fans right now, what can they expect from you when you get on campus? What can they expect for you just your last few years of high school? What would you say?
Well, my last few years of high school, I just want to win as many games as I can. Win those big rivalry games, prep nationals, just like do as good as we can in those, and hopefully walk away with prep nationals win and an undefeated record in high school would be nice. And when I get to Syracuse, I just hope to make just a good impact. Just get close with the guys, and from there, try and win a national championship. I think it's definitely doable. The good group of guys coming in, and group of guys already there look pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jayden, I appreciate you for coming on the show. Make sure you guys go check out all of his social medias down below. They'll all be linked. But again, I appreciate you for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.